In this video I would like to take a look at the play that we can find at around the middle of the manuscript of 133 manuscript. It is this play, and I will be concentrating only on first two images, because these images are the mysterious part of this play. The rest of the play is what we have already interpreted, so there will be nothing new. But the first two images kept me puzzled for some time, because there are some strange things happening. So in the first image we can see the scholar who is in prima custodia, and the priest who is in quarta custodia. And even though from the image you would say that the priest is in more dynamic position, in fact he is not. In the text we can see that it is the scholar who is the source of the aggression. It is the one who besieges the priest. So the priest receives the aggression of the scholar. You know, it is not an easy task to be a teacher. And in the second image we have the scholar who is now doing half shield, and the priest who is in prima custodia. And the text connected to this second image, it is not very clear. It says something like, and now he is besieging him. So we don't know who is besieging whom. And for some time I was playing with the idea that it might be now the priest who is besieging the scholar. But no, I am now very sure that it is the scholar who is again besieging the priest. So these are the two images, and they are showing something very unusual for 133. These are two obsessiones, two sieges that are chained one to another. Because in the first image the scholar is doing the siege with prima custodia, and he immediately goes into the siege of half shield. So he is chaining two sieges, two obsessiones, one after the other, and this is something that we don't usually see in 133. Generally, I don't think that there is any other play that would show something like this. I can't be exactly sure, but I think there is no other play. It is just this one. And the usual way how it goes in 133, you have first obsessio and then plaga. I have talked about it several times. First the siege and then the strike. That is how it goes usually in 133. Or you have just an obsessio, and then you will get entangled in some binding, and there is something special happening. But you don't have obsessio and obsessio. This is unusual, and we see it in this play. So what it is about? The first siege of scholar is the siege with prima custodia. That is, I have already interpreted this. I believe besieging somebody with prima custodia means to go forward with a shield to offer you protection. I believe in this way it will be in this image. It will be used in a similar way that I have used Schützen in the previous video. So there is some preemptive protection from what might come from the priest. And immediately you follow with this cut. So it is like this underarm descending cut. That's the siege, according to my interpretation. That's the siege. That's how you besiege people with prima custodia. So this is the first thing that the scholar is doing. And the next obsessio is half shield. So we first have this, and the next obsessio is half shield, which is a descending cut from the other side. I believe what we are seeing here is that the scholar is doing this kind of cross-cutting, like this, or probably more like this, and back into prima custodia. So he is cutting from the left side and from the right side. I believe this is what the images are showing and what they are describing by the two obsessiones. First, obsessio by prima custodia and then obsessio by Hauptschule. And this is about this cutting across, like this. It is hard to see it there if you think in the terms of obsessio and positions, custodiae. It is hard to see it there, but when the idea came to me, I was inspired by the viewer Tsurukiri that introduced me. Well, I knew about them, but he reminded me of the flowing drills that are performed in Filipino martial arts and Far Eastern martial arts, even with sword and bucklers, that are all about this flowing cutting, flowing cuts that are going like this. It reminded me exactly when I saw it. It reminded me exactly of this play, the play that I was not able to decode previously. But now I am. I think what we are seeing here, that the scholar is attacking the priest with this cross cut. I believe this is not what the priest teaches his students to do. Because we don't see this obsessio chaining in any other play. And this one play that has it, these two obsessiones, one after the other, is twice telling us that this is the example for the students. There are several ways how you can understand this, but in how I understand it is that the priest is showing something that they don't usually teach, that they usually do in the school that he is the instructor in. And he is showing it to his students so that the students would know what they can encounter if they would fight with somebody else. So the priest is not teaching this, he is not encouraging the students to do this, but he needs his students to know about this possibility and to know how to defend against it. So this is why he is giving them this example. I imagine it as if you were taking some karate classes, and in karate classes the instructor would teach you the defense against like haymaker, horrible big haymaker. He would say that this is not what the karate practitioners do. It is a bad way to attack. But the opponent can do it to you, so you need to learn how to do it, and you need to learn how to defend against it. Because without knowing how to do it, you won't be able to defend. So he has to teach his students this horrible drunkard haymaker, if he is to teach them how to defend against it. And I believe the same thing we are seeing here in this play in 133. The priest is, or the scholar is showing this kind of crosscut, and the priest shows his students how to defend. Another interesting part comes from the priest, because the priest in the first image is in quarta custodia, like this. But in the second image, he is in prima custodia. So he goes from here to here, between the two cuts of the scholar. How is it possible? In fact, this is the play that made me a bit unsure about my interpretation of custodiae, because I have interpreted custodiae, the positions, the guards, as positions that you use for waiting. But here we see that the priest is switching from one custodia to the other one during the combat. So it seems that the prima custodia, which is the second one, would not be used for waiting. It is something that he get into like naturally during the flow of the attack. So what I believe happened here is that the priest was waiting in quarta custodia, which is a position that is ready to punish the opponent with half shield, with a descending cut, if he gets closer. Now, the scholar gets closer with his obsessio from prima custodia, and the priest is trying to punish him, but he is a bit late, and he takes the sword and deflects it to the left side. So the priest naturally does something like that to deflect the scholar's sword to the left side, which brings him naturally to prima custodia. So it is very possible that prima custodia in fact is the ending point of half shield cut, which means that in fact half shield cut would not be cut from here to here, because position with the sword very low is not in 133. It seems that this half shield cut is turned like quite high, and immediately when you finish your cut, or when you swing like through, you from this height you immediately turn the sword and hide it behind the shield, because you want the protection. So this is the idea that I'm getting from this play, that probably the custodiae might not be just waiting guards. They might be positions that you go through during the fight, as it is in, I believe, any other medieval manuscript, medieval manual, fencing manual. Because this is how other fencing manuals usually think about positions. These are important positions that you go through during the fight. And maybe that from this play we can see that 133 thinks the same way about its custodiae. So to summarize it, I believe this play is showing us an unusual, for the priest, unusual type of attack which you can encounter from other fencers, and this is this kind of cross-cutting, one side and the other. And the priest is showing how to defend, so he first deflects the first strike with his sword and reaches prima custodia, and when the second cut comes at him, he falls under the sword and shield, and then works from there. So the scholar is doing this unusual type of crosscut, or probably usual for other fencers than the priest, and the priest is showing how to defend. So first you deflect the cut, and then you fall under the sword and shield and continue. So I'm quite happy that I was able to interpret this play, because I was for some time puzzled by it. I couldn't see what it is about, but now it seems understandable, and I'm glad about it. And I will think about the custodiae, because maybe there are really something different than I thought at the beginning.